Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are ready to send up our second probe launcher with actually, quasi-designed probes. So that is fantastic. One thing that we did learn from the previous attempt is that this thing flies very well. In fact, we need to check our staging for sure, but let's go ahead and do that right now. We're probably never going to launch this through the staging process. This thing as well, we'll put that in the same stage. These as well, actually. We'll probably want to redo the staging when we launch these, so that'll be okay. This firing at the same time as that is okay. This is supposed to go up here for sure. Okay, so these fall off at this point. That's fine. This should definitely be up here. And we'll deal with this whole stage in a moment. These decouplers are up here. They'll go there for now, temporarily. This definitely needs some stage work. There's no doubt about that. And then, what decoupler and engine is this? The center one? Yes, the center one. Okay, we'll put those up there. And then, what decoupler is this? That goes up there too. Okay, so starting from the bottom up, our mainsail fires and our Clydesdales fire at the same time. I'm going to potentially thrust limit the mainsail, or maybe just not throttle it up to full. What is it like if we just don't run it in terms of thrust to weight? 1.41? Probably good enough. Probably, actually. Okay, so then our SRBs fall off. And then our center core falls off, and this fires, our pug. Excellent. And then we definitely want to have... Let's see. The engine plate is going to be in kind of its own thing, and is never going to be used. And then we definitely need the parachutes to be in their own thing. So the parachutes would do something like that. And then these decouplers. Okay, so these are the higher decouplers. The higher decouplers go here. The engines fire at the same time as the other decouplers, right? I think this is correct. So we would have it be like this. We will reevaluate that as we get up there. I mean, we're going to be doing most of this quasi-manually anyway, so let's go ahead and save that, and let's launch this. We are ready to send this over to Eve. Work on some nice splashdown missions. Hope that we don't have any physics issues with those air brakes. That is my only major concern here, but I think they're relatively physicsless anyway. I'm actually going to have this not be throttled up in the slightest right now. And let's get out of here. We're just firing the SRBs for the time being. And that should be absolutely perfect. Okay. I can see we're drifting a little bit without the mainsail. That's okay. We're going to start making our way over towards the prograde marker here. And how is our apoapsis looking? We're about 5 kilometers. We're a ways away. How long on these SRBs? 45 more seconds. Sounds good to me. Just keep on bringing this over. About 14 kilometers is our current apoapsis, and 30 seconds left in our SRBs. Wonderful. Just making towards that prograde marker for right now. There we go. We'll just hold prograde. And I'm going to throttle up our mainsail right about at 3 seconds, I think. There we go. Clean separation. Beautiful. Okay. So our apoapsis is currently about 60 kilometers. We're getting a lot of horizontal speed right now, which is always nice to see. I want to pull this down on the heading a little bit, but it doesn't really matter all that much. We'll aim for perhaps 80 kilometers on the apoapsis. We're getting a lot of horizontal speed right now, so I think that's okay. 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. Okay. There we go. And we will go ahead and begin our circularization maneuver right around here. And let's check that. Yeah, that's good enough. We'll head on over to the maneuver node. And very soon now, we will deploy our solar panels, but now is not exactly the time for that. Allegedly 1 minute 12 second on this burn. We'll see how realistic that is. And we will extend these solar panels right about... Now, we're not going up all that fast. Here in 1 more kilometer. Right about now. Excellent. 1 minute 7 seconds. Okay, so T minus 33.5 seconds is when we want to begin our circularization burn. And we will burn that right now. Off we go. Wonderful. We're going to take basically the same flight profile that we did previously. We'll take a gravity assist around the moon and get out of the Kerbal system that way relatively efficiently. And then we'll do our inclination change and our transfer over to Eve. And then we'll start landing these guys in the atmosphere. In theory. Anyway. Okay, so we've got 500 more meters per second until we are in orbit here. Or in our desired orbit, more specifically. .300 meters per second, about 15 more seconds of burn time. And that's completely fine. This burn is beginning to wrap up. We'll be entering orbital mode now. Fantastic. And this is good enough. Wonderful. Okay, so next up, we're going to want to burn to the moon. And when are we going to want to do that? Like, probably after an orbit, I think. That's actually a moon encounter there. Okay. We'll happily take that. Something... was that a return moon encounter? Oh, no, there we go. Okay, so we'll bring this on in then, and get ourselves a nice little escape velocity in theory. Ooh, this inclination, though. Oh, this inclination. I really hate it. Let's set the moon as our target, and let's fix our inclination. Okay, so next up is going to be the ascending node. At the ascending node, we are going to want to fix our inclination just a little bit. Okay, let's go to that maneuver node. Just kind of wiggle our way over. This rocket is, whoa, okay, let's not physics warp that. That was very spooky. It's because we have all of the ASAS up in these probes. That'll be why. Okay, so we're going to burn this at T minus 1.5 seconds. Let's go ahead and warp towards that. And this will put us like a minute out. Yes, indeed. And we're going to continue warping here until we are about this far out. And we're going to burn this right about now. Should be close enough. Yeah, should definitely be close enough. Okay, so now once we get over here or so, we'll want to head out to the moon. This is going to be much better in terms of our inclination, I think. Oh, that's actually pulling away, so we're going to want to move this in a little bit like that. And we can pull this back to be about here in terms of delta V. I mean, we could get it a little more efficient, but I don't think we need to. So let's go ahead and maneuver our way on over. And that will be absolutely fantastic. I don't want to physics warp this. As I said, we've got some joint issues up here. Looks like there's a small hole in the clouds. That's exciting. They may have forgotten to texture that quad. Actually, I think that might be floating above the clouds. Yeah, there's some parallax there. Look at that. Exciting. Or the clouds are moving. I suppose that's a thing, too. Let's go ahead and warp towards this burn. This is going to be T-minus 20.5 seconds that we want to do this burn. So let's fix our orientation here. Make our way right on over there. And we'll warp towards T-minus 21, or rather 20 and a half seconds. Wonderful. Not sure what that is, but we're 100 kilometers away from it. I've slightly overshot in the timing. That's probably okay. I was distracted by the object, whatever it was. I actually don't know what that might be, but it's okay. We could probably figure it out if we really wanted to. But I don't think this timing is going to matter all that much. Maybe a meter per second or two. It could be in either direction as well, so that's fine. Is that... That's over Minmus. Okay. I was going to say, is that one over Eve? But no. Minmus is out there. Sounds good to me. Okay, so we'll bring this on out. And we're just looking for escape velocity here. Which is something along the lines of... that. That'll do. Okay, we'll go ahead and warp to our moon periapsis. Off we go to the moon. We've still got a lot of delta V in this thing, which is good, because we will need it. Okay, so here we are at the moon periapsis, and now we are going to just go ahead and warp to Kerbal escape. No, not the ComSat. We're going to warp to Kerbal escape. Excellent. And off we go. This time with probes that should actually survive the entry into Eve's atmosphere. Fingers crossed on that one. We hope they'll survive. So we will go ahead and set Eve as our target. And we can see that we are next going to hit the ascending node over here. That's completely okay. So once we're there, we need to change our inclination. This is the ascending node, so we will go down. It's always opposite. And we'll just match planes, like so. Fantastic. 300 meters per second. And we will make our way over to that. Now, this is a pretty expensive flight, it does bear noting, so we really, really hope that this works. Like, really hope that this works. So we're going to, at this point, warp forward 107 days. We have lots of time to get this done, and since we're actively working on Eve, we should be fine. There we go. And off we go. 100 days of warp time. Should be fine. And then we will, of course, change our orbital plane here. About 40 more days to warp. Make that 10. Wait, we got a world first milestone? To escape the gravitational influence of Eve? When did that happen? Maybe while we were flying in, we just happened to bounce back out briefly or something. I don't know. It's a possibility. Okay, so T minus 7.5 seconds is when we want to burn this. Approximately. It doesn't have to be exact because my maneuver node placing isn't exact. But we'll just go ahead and change our inclination here. How are we doing? Good enough. Fantastic. 0.1? Oh, okay. We'll continue burning that a bit then. There we go. Now we're good enough. Okay, so what does an intercept look like? Probably poorly. Fairly poorly, yeah. Indeed. Yeah, this is not looking fantastic. We're going to have to wait until next orbit. That's a little bonkers. That's our encounter. I mean, this is what happens when you don't time your launches, right? We need to head back to the Space Center, though, and see if we can get away with a year warp. So let's head back to the Space Center here. And then we'll fine-tune that warp. I mean, we did a year warp previously, but I want to check how long we have on our contracts. Our existing contracts. So, we can take a look at these. Science data from space around Eve is something we can easily do right now. And that's definitely something that I'm going to do. Orbital station on a solar orbit, 24 years away. 21 years, 24 years, 25, 21... and this one has no expiration. Okay, so we're not in a time crunch. That's fantastic. Let's head over to Eve then and immediately complete that science data from space around Eve. Here's a ComSat. Fantastic. And we're just going to grab our thermometer reading, and we're going to transmit that back. Fantastic. There's our contract complete. And actually, that contract just paid us, like, I'm not sure what the advance was, but probably like 130K? That's really, really solid. Like, is that basically the cost of our launcher? How much is that launcher? I know it's pretty expensive. Let's find out. 155. Okay. So yeah, that almost covers the cost of that launcher. And the mistake that I made. That's great. That is absolutely wonderful. We're not going to do any of these right now. We'll just head on back to our probe launcher. And we're going to fly this. And we are going to warp. We've got plenty of time. So let's go ahead and warp ahead. 1 year, 77 days. Actually, before we do that, I want to fine-tune this burn. Because... oh, I got rid of it. I'm dumb. Okay, well, we knew that. We knew that. We also know about what we need to do here. So this would burn retrograde like so, and would be somewhere around here, maybe slightly later. Yes, around there. So let's go ahead and come on in here, and of course we want to fine-tune this. So we want to bring this on in. Where's our node at? There it is. Okay. So we want to bring this in. Ooh, that's an awkward angle. Okay. A little more prograde. Change our inclination a bit. Bring that in. Change that inclination a wee bit more. Yeah, we can fix the inclination when we get here. And I want to go retrograde here, so we'll have to go like that. Okay, something along the lines of this should work. Fantastic. Okay, we'll go ahead and point towards that maneuver. Very slowly. Of course, as we burn more fuel, it should get easier and easier to rotate this. We have less and less mass. And once we ditch this ginormous stage, things should go a little bit better as well. We'll go ahead and warp towards this as of right about now. Excellent. And we are, of course, warping at top speed right now. So we are going to be warping for about another year here. That's going to be a little while to warp. I do wish we could warp a little bit faster. Can you warp faster from the Space Center, from the tracking station? I think that caps out at the same point here, and it only is faster if you're in a position where your cap is lower. So I don't think that would actually be helpful, unfortunately. I was just checking to see if our solar panels were turning during this, and indeed they are. That's great. I'm noticing our electric charge is not going up. It's not going down either. I'm wondering if it's because these guys aren't in hibernation. Let's see if we can get in there. Maybe. Just need the Probodobodyne. Boom. Okay. We're going to cancel the time warp for right now. Hibernation on. Oh, it is charging up. Fantastic. Okay, we'll continue our warp then. It drained down to that same point and then stopped when we entered warp. Is it just draining this battery that's in here but not refilling it? Or is this just kind of bugged? Yeah, it's the batteries in the Probodobodyne that are draining. Yeah, during the warp. Weird. Anyway, this is going to be a 13.5 second burn from the T-minus. So we will go ahead and move towards T-minus 13.5 seconds, and we will burn this right now. Excellent. So in we come here. And that'll be about 500 more meters per second. This stage is, of course, going to be burned out pretty quickly. So that does bear noting. But not quite yet. Okay, we're just going to burn this a little more cautiously from here. 20 more meters per second. Ooh, okay. 3 more meters per second. It's going to be a little off from what we expected. That's okay. I'm going to thrust limit this guy on down to like 9% right now. That is within the atmosphere. We're going to swap over to prograde, because we don't want to be within the atmosphere here. Absolutely not. This would cause a failure of the mission. 1,000,000%. So we will move this back. We're aiming for just above 90 is what we want. So we'll position it here, approximately, and move this right on back. That's good enough. We can work with that. So we'll set up a maneuver here, and that will be a retrograde burn. And we'll bring that on in to circularize. About like that. Should be good enough. Maybe we want to bring it down a little bit more. Bring it down to somewhere around 92 kilometers. Like that. That's something we can do. Okay, we'll go ahead and position for that maneuver. And then we'll need to warp forward. It is, however, about time to put a cut in here, so I think next episode we will make our way in and begin this Eve mission with real actual probes this time. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.